Hello friends, now I am going to explain the entry level project C project number 5 in the project zone C. This is preparation of salary statement. In this context, I would like to tell you one thing. Whether the program is small or big, let us develop it in a formal manner because now your objective is to become a good programmer. That's why you must understand the formal procedure of development of programs. In formal development, there are 5 steps: task, analysis, algorithm, coding, and testing. So, the first step is task. Task means understanding problem domain as well as the solution domain. This is a simple problem, preparation of salary statement. So, through this output, we understand the problem as well as the solution. Now you see, we have to prepare a salary statement and let us see the content. The first one is basic. Basic means basic pay or basic salary. This is the input data. Thereafter DA. DA means dearness allowance. Thereafter third item HRA, house rent allowance, and the fourth one is conveyance allowance, and the fifth one is gross salary. Gross salary is the sum of the 4 items: basic, DA, HRA, and conveyance allowance. Thereafter, from gross salary, we are deducting income tax if applicable, and after that, gross salary minus income tax, you can arrive at net salary. So, you have to print the output in this format. Now, let us understand the problem in detail. The first one is basic salary is the input item. You have to enter the basic salary of the employee through keyboard. Thereafter, you have to calculate using a formula, that is dearness allowance. Dearness allowance is the 50% of basic. Thereafter, HRA, that is house rent allowance, is 10% of the sum of basic and DA. 10% of the sum of basic and DA, you can get HRA. Thereafter, conveyance allowance. Conveyance allowance is a uniform allowance to all the employees. It is paid 1000 rupees uniformly to all the employees. Thereafter, by finding the sum of these 4 items, basic, DA, HRA, and conveyance allowance, you can find out, you calculate the gross salary. Gross salary. Thereafter, if gross salary is 15,000 or more per month, 5% of the gross salary is deducted as income tax provision. Actually, gross salary is 15,000 or more. 5% of the gross salary is deducted as income tax provision. The provision is accumulated. At the end of that, income tax is paid from the accumulated income tax provision. Simply call it as IT, income tax. Thereafter, gross salary minus income tax comes net salary. Net salary, all these data items we have to write in the output formation in the specific formation. This is the understanding of the problem. After understanding the problem domain and the solution domain, let us analysis. Analysis here few calculations are there. First one is DA. DA is 50% of the basic. Here generally non-mathematical students are confused. 50% we cannot write 50% here. 50 by 100 we can write. Instead of that we can write 0.5. Don't confuse, 0.5 is nothing but 50%. By that then we are able to calculate DA. Thereafter HRA. HRA is 10% of basic, sum of basic and DA. Basic plus DA into 0.1, 10%, 0.1, 50%, 0.5. So don't commit mistake here. And thereafter convenience allowance. Convenience allowance is a constant because that is uniformly 1000 rupees is paid to all the employees. So you have to declare it as a constant that is 1000 rupees. Thereafter we have to calculate gross salary. Gross salary is the sum of basic, DA, HRA and the convenience allowance. Then gross salary is calculated. Thereafter we have to calculate income tax if applicable. What is the condition for income tax? Gross salary is greater than or equal to, don't confuse, greater than for 15,000, who gets 15,000 rupees per month also income tax is applicable. That's why greater than or equal to symbol you have to use 15,000. And now if salary is 15,000 or more, IT is 5% of the gross salary. 5% means here is C, don't confuse, 0.05. That is, otherwise 5 by 100 is nothing but 0.05 gross salary into 0.05. Then income tax we can arrive at. And here one point you must remember, greater than or equal to. That means what is the other option? Less than. Less than means this is 0. Less than means this is 0. Income tax is 0. For everybody income tax is there. But if the gross salary per month is less than 15,000, income tax is equal to 0. Or otherwise, that means gross salary is 15,000 or more, this is calculated according to this formula. Thereafter, we have to calculate the net salary, gross salary minus income tax, if any. If it is applicable, then we have to do. Otherwise, for everybody it is deducted. For those people who are getting less than 15,000 salary, it would be 0. Then what happens? Gross salary minus 0. Then gross salary is equivalent to net salary. In this way, if a problem is small or big, you have to analyze that. Analysis is very important. Then on each and every point, you can focus. Even this type of meticulous things, small things and all that, if you are not careful, you may write it wrongly. Suppose instead of 0.05, if you write 0.5 and all that, 50% of the gross salary is read as income tax. These are very common errors committed by mainly the beginner programmers. That's why be careful about this. Then this is in this way we have to, this is a thinking process. What are the intricacies, what are the points in the development process, everything we have to understand, find out the solutions. This is the analysis phase, third one. Second one, the third one is algorithm. Okay, we already have understood the problem and we understood the destination, that is the solution. Now we analyze all the intricacies in the problem, we specially focus, and thereafter what are the steps in the program we consider, that is the procedures to implement the program that we are writing. The first one is reading basics, thereafter, initializing conveyance allowance as a constant, because conveyance allowance is common, uniform for all the employees, there are 1000 rupees. So, it is always safe to declare it as a constant. If we declare it as a constant, then there is no scope of modifying it, changing it accidentally or voluntarily. That is always a safer method. So, we are reading the basic pay, as well as we are initializing conveyance allowance with 1000 rupees as a constant. Thereafter, we have to calculate uh, a DA and HRA. HRA according to the formula, and thereafter, using a formula, we have to calculate gross salary. Gross salary is the sum of basic plus DA plus HRA plus conveyance allowance. Thereafter, we have to calculate income tax. Income tax is calculated for every employee. Just you understand that point indifferently. Income tax is applicable to every employee who gets less than 15,000 rupees salary per month. Their income tax provision is 0. If they get 15,000 or more per month, that it depends. So, that income tax is applicable to all the employees. Thereafter, net salary. Net salary is gross salary minus income tax. So, for those the income tax is not applicable, gross salary and net salary are one and same, because income tax will be 0, then gross salary is equivalent to net salary. This is the algorithm. Now, mentally we are clear about the problem. In this context, once again I am telling you, so far 3 steps we discussed. First one is task. Task means understanding problem domain and solution domain. Second one is analysis, and third one is algorithm. In the 3 steps, there is no role of language. That point you have to understand. This is the our mental work. Now, in the 4th step, that is coding, their language enters. There you should have the knowledge of one of the programming languages like C, C++ or Java, etc. Now, the 4th step in the program development process is coding. For the sake of coding the program very easily, I have given a checklist, and you consider the program in view of this checklist. The first one is how many variables are required. Out of that, how many are input variables? Input variables means we enter through keyboard. How many are output variables? Here, input variable is only one, that is basic. And other one, we have to initialize one more variable, that is CA, that is conveyance allowance, because conveyance allowance is uniform for all the employees, it is 1000 rupees. So, we have to initialize it, and it is better declare it as a constant. In actual coding, I will explain this point. So, this is initialized one, and the remaining 5 numbers are output variables. Output variables means using arithmetical statements or formula, we have to calculate. The first one is DA, HRA, gross salary, income tax, and net salary. For these 5, we have to use corresponding formula, and then we have to calculate. Now, this is the first one. How many variables are required? How many are input variables? How many are output variables? And one more special point I am introducing. Some constants are to be initialized. So, that also you keep in mind. This is a new point. Thereafter, what are the types? Actually, for rupees and for amounts and all that, it is a prudent way to declare them as floats. It is not good to declare them as integers, and that then because paise may be there, that's why we have to declare all these are rupees only. So we can what is the appropriate data type is float. Thereafter, what are their names? This is a very crucial point, and normally we define names with lowercase letters. This is the convention. But for this, some exceptions also I show you. For basic, the appropriate name is basic, because it should be readable. One should understand that basic, or if you want to give complete name, basic pay or basic salary is also prudent. Basic pay. Or otherwise, one more convention is there, that is camel notation. This also you can follow. So one of the three you can follow, and in this I am using basic. Basic. If you want to use either of these two, then throughout the program for all similar elements means where more than one word is there, you have to follow the same style. So, suppose net salary is there. Net salary, if you use for basic pay, if you use this one, and net salary, if you use this convention, not good at all. So that point you remember, and basic pay I declare as the basic. Thereafter, here one more thing. Normally we use lowercase lowercase letters for uh, all the variable names and all that. But wherever you are using acronyms or abbreviations, then you can use uppercase, because it is more readable. Why we are following all these conventions? For the sake of readability, and for the sake of uniformity. So here, for certain abbreviations and all that, if you use uppercase, they are more readable. That's why you can DA, you take it as DA in uppercase, that is more readable. And the second one, house rent advance, that also it is an abbreviation, and HRA you can take. And conveyance allowance you take as CA. And one more thing in this context I have to tell you, actually whenever we declare constants and all that, the convention is we have to write it in uppercase. That is the convention. Here two ways it is applicable. One is as it is abbreviated, then constant capital letters we have used, and as it is declared as a constant, then also we use uppercase letters constants. Thereafter gross salary, because gross salary I am not using abbreviated form and all that. Gross salary, in the same way net salary. Here you understand, this is underscore, this is not dash, you must remember. Otherwise, if you want to write it according to camel notation, how can you write this? Gross salary, net salary. Like this you can write. This option is yours, but only thing is, if you like this style throughout the program, use the same style. If you like this style throughout the program for similar elements, you use the same style. So in this manner, first you have to get answers for all these questions in the checklist. Then your job will be easy. Then you can start actual coding. Now let us write the actual code. This is a coding section. Now first you have to start with a comment, and a comment should explain what is the task of the program, that is preparation of the salary statement of an employee. Okay. Thereafter, this is inclusion of header files, include stdio.h, include conio.h. Thereafter, we start writing main block, void main, void main, and opening brace. Thereafter, we start with the declaration section. Declaration section and all that. Now we have already discussed all these features and what are the names we have to give and what are the types and all that. So float is appropriate type for all the data items. That's why float, basic, DA, capitals is a, because we are using abbreviated form, HRA. Thereafter gross salary, this is underscore, and IT, income tax, this is also abbreviated code, and net salary underscore. These are the names what I am giving. Thereafter, we are declaring conveyance allowance as the constant, because it is constant for all the employees, it is fixed, it is uniform, 1000 rupees. That's why const is the keyword, and for declaring constants and all that, we use this keyword const. This is a float, that's why float type we have used. CA we are using. Here one thing, because not only because of abbreviated thing, I haven't written in capitals. Actually, whenever you declare constants and all that, the convention is you have to use uppercase letters. Why you have to use uppercase means it is a precautionary measure, because if these are in uppercase, you can prima facie understand it is a constant. Constant means we are not supposed to change its value. So, and it should be initialized. If you don't initialize, it leads to error. So, conveyance elements I uh, initialized as a constant and all that. So, declaration section is over. Thereafter, clear screen, then input section started. Input section, now first I have to write only one input item is there, that is basic. Then here enter basic salary, that is the prompt statement. Thereafter scanf. As it is a float, you are taking it as a percentage F and ampersand basic. This is a common mistake, common error. You must write ampersand, otherwise it leads to error. Okay, so input section is over. Only one item we are reading through keyboard. Thereafter, processing section. Processing section means in order to initialize all output variables, we have to write the corresponding formula. Then DA is already explained in analysis. DA is equal to basic into 0.5 means 50%. HRA is equal to basic plus DA, 10% of basic plus DA, then basic plus DA into 0.1. 0.1 represent 10%. Gross salary. Gross salary is the sum of basic, DA, HRA and CA. Here one point you must remember. Now after DA is calculated, then only we can use DA. After HRA and DA are calculated, then only we have to use them. Before calculation, we should not use them. Always remember. Here CA already we initialize. That's why we are able to use that. So gross salary, the sum of basic and DA and HRA and CA, that is conveyance allowance. Thereafter, income tax provision. For calculating income tax provision, I am using conditional operators. Now you see how it works. IT is equal to gross salary is greater than or equal to. Don't forget this. Income tax provision is applicable to those employees who are exactly drawing 15,000. 15,000 or more. That's why you have to use greater than or equal to 15,000. And if it is true, gross salary into 5%. Already told you 5% should be represented 5 by 100. That means 0.05. If gross salary is 15,000 or more, gross salary into 0.05 is the income tax provision. Here, else, that means gross salary is less than 15,000, income tax is 0. That is the thing. Thereafter net salary. Net salary is equal to gross salary minus IT. So, for those employees, uh, income tax is not applicable, then IT will be 0. Then in their case, gross salary is equivalent to net salary. Other employees, gross salary minus actual income tax applicable, that is deducted in order to arrive net salary. So, this is the processing section. All the required formula he have written now. Thereafter, this is the output formation. So, in order to produce this, in view of this, we have to write output section very carefully, because output formation is very core and it should be readable. You can satisfy your client mainly with the output, because he does not bother about what are the intricacies in our code and other things and all that, because that is he is not, you don't mind. He knows output, how elegantly he is able to give inputs to the program, how elegantly he is able to read the output is are his considerations. Always you must remember, with reference of this output formation, you have to write the output section. Now, I will explain the output section, the fourth section after declaration section, input section and processing section. The fourth section, output section, we have to write. Now you see, with the reference to this, you have to write all the statements. That's why always you do one thing. How you want to print your output, first to write a format manually, and with reference to that write all the statements. Then you can write the code strictly according to your requirement. Otherwise, you have to redo it. You have to modify the code and all that. Always follow my advices. Then you can save a lot of time and you can achieve command over the coding very easily. Now, first line is there that we are writing printf new line, and a line with dashes or underscores you can use, and you are closing it. Thereafter, salary statement you are writing, it is a mere string. Thereafter, one more line you are writing here, and that you have written. Thereafter, basic, just item wise you see basic, and for the sake of tabs and all that, we are writing horizontal tabs. Here this code is very important. In the first 4 programs we have used percentage %G. If you write percentage %G, one problem is there. Suppose 31.1 is there. Instead of 31.150, 31.1 is printed. But here we want to rupees and all that, we want to print 2 digits after decimal. So in this case, this code format specifiers you can use. You can study C tutorial 5th chapter. Then you can understand these elements. What is the meaning of that? 8 spaces are to be reserved for this data. 8 spaces are to be reserved for this data. After decimal point, you want to print only 2 digits. That is the meaning. For all of them, rest of them also the same thing. 8 spaces are to be allocated for your number, and 2 digits are to be printed after decimal point. That is DA you are printing. In the same manner, HRA you are printing. In the same way, this is conveyance allowance you are printing. Thereafter, now one line you write for this purpose. Thereafter, you are finding gross salary, and gross salary you are printing. Thereafter, income tax. Income tax, already I told you, if it is not applicable, that means the employee salary is below 15,000, then income tax is printed as 0. Otherwise, whatever is applicable amount, that is printed. That is printed. Thereafter, one more line will come. Thereafter, net salary. Net salary is printed. Thereafter, one more line, and finally, right. And get CH. The advantage of this I have to explain to you. Get CH, if you write and all that, as soon as you enter data and all that, immediately output is displayed. Otherwise, you have to press Alt F5. That point always you remember. Always with reference to the output formation and content, you write our output section. Then you can successfully write the program. And one more thing I am telling you at the end, program is either small or big. You follow this procedure. You study, understand, and implement the program in 5 phases, that is task, analysis, algorithm, coding, and testing. Here, testing and all that, what way you have to test? Actually, here, how many categories of employees are there? Hardly you can find 2 categories of employees. First type of employee who are drawing 15,000 or more gross salary. Second type of employee who are getting less than 15,000. So finally, after you write a successful code and all that, you test both the groups. That means whose salary is 15,000 or more and whose salary is less than 15,000. In both cases, manually test it whether it is printing correct result or not, and whether it is printed in a proper format and all that. If anything requires small changes, you can make. Ultimately, it should be printed in a readable format. In that way, every program should be tested. What are the possible options are there? You have to see, and for all the possible options, you have to give inputs, corresponding inputs, and test whether the output is correct or not. In this case, only 2 types of employees are there for whom income tax is applicable, for whom income tax is not applicable. So these points you must remember and write the program. If you continue the same spirit, then ultimately you will become a good programmer, and you will become an ultimate programmer, which are required by the industry, software industry.